Yo, what is up guys? I'm here hitting you up with a new video. Friendly reminder to all my supporters that the season is about to end. So make sure that you're going to the partner program to extend your support to me. Appreciate it a lot. Let's jump into the main topic. Now, since we had a week to take a look at the Transcendence feature in SLA, for the skill runes and for the blessing stones, there are some noticeable or some key features we need to take into account. Not only do you need the Transcendence fragment, but you also need a additional gold skill or blessing skill, which you also have to be aware of, because sometimes you might be thinking about, oh yeah, I want to buy these packs and stuff like that, right, to get extra fragments and stuff, so you can actually craft these skills to get a mythic skill or even a mythic blessing. Depends on what you're trying to aim for, right? But at least for the runes, it's actually a lot harder in my opinion to have leftover skills than leftover blessing stones, in my opinion, because we're getting way more powder. So be aware of that. Took a look at all of this really, and if I have to make a comparison to what we have with the gold skills right now, the increase, I will look at the codex, for example. Let's take a look at runes, for example. The increase from gold to red is a lot smaller than from purple to gold. So basically, a purple to gold upgrade is a lot more significant than a gold to red upgrade overall. Now, what is a good example for that? Let's look at max slash for that one, because I feel like this is the most prominent one. Purple max slash has 372% and 160% for 30 seconds. This is the amplification here. 160%, 372, 390, which is 18%. But we jump from 160% now to 250%, which is 90% plus an 18%. Now we have 400%, that's 10%, with 275, that's 25%. So the increase from purple to gold was a lot higher than from gold to red. And this is a trend for every single one of these skills, even same with this one. So you have here 160, and then let's take a look at double down, for example, just as a reference point. Then we have 240% with 1300, okay, 240%, and now also 80% increase. And now if we look at the gold one, 280, so that's only 40%. So basically only half from what you get. To put the top picks in perspective, my opinion is when it comes to skill runes are not that important right now to upgrade. Where the meat are the blessing stones. The blessing stones are, in my opinion, way more important than the skills, because it doesn't make really sense to pick something. The only thing that is like legitimately the only blessing stone, in my opinion, that you could argue has a good chance, but even at the end of the day it is situational, is liberation. Liberation boosts your attack percentage and it boosts collapse, which is basically it increases the damage of thunderstorm. This is the only one, and then also just only for Battlefield of Time reasons, to be honest. This skill is a higher contender than some of the others, but at the end of the day, depending on what your focus points are, skills it's very situational, very situational. That's why don't bother with it too much. Just wait for it naturally to arrive, especially if you don't really have that many gold blessing left over. Then is a gold skill rune left over, then it is even another story. But let's take a look at the blessing stones and what my general opinion are the best ones, and what you should focus on, and what your plan should be. So there's two separate things. Not to make it short, I think, and concise, I tell you what I focus on, and by telling you what I focus on and what I will pick is basically my recommendation to you. Now, the number one choice, no matter what, should be Reawakening. I think this should be self-explanatory, but for those who don't remember, what does Reawakening do? It reduces your cooldown of all your skills, and Reawakening is the blessing stone which is used in most of the content. This is the most used blessing stone in the entire game, and that is why blessing to mythic first, it's gonna be Reawakening, because that additional 4% does a lot. Also, it helps you to invest less intelligence points into your Jinwoo, more into attack points if you do different type of content, POD, or whatever you might else do. My next pick is gonna be Bloodlust. Even though it's just 2%, 2% does a lot. So that's why Bloodlust is another one I will focus on. And then the other blessings I'm focusing on are weakness detection, because weakness detection not only increases your damage, but weakness detection, if there's a break bar, also increases your break effectiveness to some degree. That's why I also want to make sure that my weakness detection is up. Sharp perception is one of the bigger winner of this patch, because of this feature, because now your crit rate you get increases from 18% to 24.5%, which is huge. Mythic sharp perception is very, very good, so be on the lookout for this one. Very, very good. And also, last but not least, in my opinion, the pulverize increase now from 30% to 36%, and the break damage also from 30 to 36% is also huge. Those are the 4-5 blessings I focus first, because those are the ones we are currently using a lot, and that's why those will be the first ones. Once I have 15 fragments, will transcend them first. What are the other choices you might wanna keep in mind? There are a couple. We have Intuit, because now what I suggest, or what you need to be on the lookout, in my opinion, is more for Battlefield of Time purposes than other content. So Intuit is very good for BOT, and this one Intuit proved to be very, very good for Battlefield of Time. And that's why this will be one I do want to get to Mythic as well, because it just boosts overall your stats. Then I might think, which will be a big change, or not, some sort of change, will be Boss Slayer. Boss Slayer got buffed to 24%, and the Mythic even boosted even further to 29%, which will be big, because this will allow you to one-shot certain bosses. So be on the lookout for Boss Slayer. Boss Slayer might be a huge contender for that one. And another big one will be the Assassin's Proficiency. The Assassin's Proficiency increases your back attack damage by 29%. If I am not wrong and they didn't change anything for Battlefield of Time, Battlefield for Power of Destruction, this could be huge, because every attack to the dragon is considered a back attack damage. So if you get a flat like 29% increase, this is quite a big number. So you want to use the Assassin's Proficiency for Power of Destruction. And what is also a big contender for the future, and especially also there might be content where there is no elemental advantage, is the Advanced Dagger technique. You get a flat 24% damage increase when the enemy is below 70%, which is also huge. Be on the lookout for this one. Meat and potatoes, there's also two things I wanted to mention. This is a longer video. With Mana Rampage and Double-Edged Sword, these two were very, very similar in damage. Both provided you with an additional 16% attack increase. Now, with this chance to Mythic, there's actually a difference, and in my opinion, Double-Edged Sword, if you want to put it on a tier list, will now fall down on a tier list. This thing here changed from gold to red, is going from 16% up to 18%, which is basically nothing. It really doesn't change much about that at all. So this is just a waste in upgrading, while the Mana Rampage increases from 6% to 20%. Now, if you at some point have to make a decision between Double-Edged Sword or Mana Rampage, you want to go with Mana Rampage. Before we had the discussion, what is better? Is it Double-Edged Sword or is it Intuit? Now it's definitively Intuit is a lot better now than Double-Edged Sword. Now, if you have selectors right now and you're thinking about mythicking one of your blessings or even your skills, my personal recommendation right now is to hold. Do not, and I mean it, do not waste your selectors right now to craft any mythic skills prematurely. This will be probably the main topic of this video. Do not craft anything prematurely, because of two main different reasons. You have a weekly income, random boxes you obtain for your skills and your blessings. And the problem right now is, okay, you can maybe get one of your mythic stuff, but there's currently no feature for your leftover fragments in the game. So whatever you get as a leftover right now, let's say you decide to craft mythic reawakening, now you get more Transcendent stones for reawakening. You cannot do anything with it. It's just a lost resource at the moment. There might be something in the future where you can change it, but right now it is a lost resource. You can't do anything with that, and you're basically wasting the power of your selector. If you just waited 1 or 2 weeks, instead of just getting one blessing to mythic, you can instead get 3 different blessings to mythic immediately, just because of how you manage your selectors. Mythic upgrades so insignificant or so small in general, we don't know that, but I think it has something to do with the amplification system we will get in the next patch. So what is the amplification system? What does it do? It basically is dupe system for your skills. What will this amplification system do? Now, this is where we go into the theory crafting, guessing section of this feature. If we look at our hunters, if we look at Sung Jin Woo, duping characters, duping weapons provides us passive abilities. We get additional effects. And I think this is what happens with the amplification system in solo leveling as well. We will get effects. What has that to do with the blessing stones in general, or what has that to do with the mythics? That's why if you have these random stuff, for me, for example, if you look at my blessings right now, I'm not gonna re-roll or waste any of my reawakening bloodlust stuff like that. I keep that in my box right now, and this is why I also tell you to hold off. My assumption is that once that amplification feature comes out with the next patch, your skills will now get additional effects. What could that additional effect be? If we look at the reawakening, for example, the main effect of that skill is you're getting a cooldown reduction of 24% with the mythic rarity. Now, what could be an amplification, a dupe system features, now that on top of that, you're now getting a mana consumption reduction. Now, if you have the gold reawakening, you are getting a 10% mana consumption reduction on top of your cooldown, because that goes hand in hand. Since you have shorter cooldowns, you can spam your skills more often. That means it takes a lot of your mana. Now you actually, with that dupe system, you will consume less mana based on the dupes. It makes sense because it's complementary. Where comes the mythic feature into effect? If you go, let's say a gold reawakening gives you a 10% mana consumption reduction. The mythic version of that gives you now a 20% mana consumption reduction. My guess is where mythic or Transcendent is coming into effect is that it will boost the dupe effects stronger than it boosts the main ability. So the upgrade from purple to gold will increase the main effect stronger, while every upgrade does increase still the main effect. It will increase the dupe effect probably a lot more. And yeah, this is just what I wanted to share, and that's why, in my opinion, do not craft prematurely right now, especially in hindsight with your selector. Keep them for now, just stockpile, and let's wait for Netmarble to introduce the amplification system, so we definitely know what they are planning and we make the right call and smart decisions. And that's why make sure to sit on your blessings right now, because you also don't know if they all get new effects, sub effects, or whatever. Some of these useless blessings might become very, very powerful. So basically sit on them for the time being till we get a definitive answer from Netmarble with the next patch. And yeah, this is my top picks video for this feature and what you need to be on the lookout. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below. I really appreciate it, and see you with the next one. Deuces.